her daughter's. The state says neither did the mother.
She's like, I hate that lady. You a mess, Beatrice. You guys just want to know I hate that lady. I'm not getting any viewers.
It all changed Sunday morning with a different post when the teen would live stream her own death.
Mother hurt her severely and abandoned her to the foster care system, where she claimed to have been violated. Even after her mother sent taunting text messages to her, rejecting her several times. Naika Vinent just wanted to go home. Instead, she was found dangling from a makeshift noose in the bathroom of her foster home while everyone was asleep in their bedroom. Emergency services tried to resuscitate her, but sadly, it was too late. What pushed young Nika Vinant to that desperate moment? And what did her own mother have to do with it? Let's explore the tragic story of Nika Vinent, the girl who took her life on Facebook Live.
I'm sick and devastated. I have trusted Florida foster care people to care for my baby. Instead, she on Facebook.
On January 22, 2017, Nika Vinant went into the bathroom stall of her foster parents' house. There, she went live on Facebook to her 3,600,000 friends. The live lasted 3 hours, and within that time, Nika basically ranted about her life, her feelings, her experiences, and how she did not belong anywhere and no one loved her. As life went on, she expressed a desire to end her life saying, "I don't want to live no more," and added 3 sad-faced emojis. There were thousands of people watching that live, a lot of them egging her on, telling her she was just faking it, and she could not do it. The trolls on Facebook picked Nika apart, saying horrible things to her, and telling her she was just faking to get attention. They told her she wasn't worth much, and every bad thing she thought about herself was true. Most of the comments on her live were not encouraging, and eventually, Naika went through with it. Thankfully, amidst all the negative comments, there were people who were trying to get her not to do it, and one person was trying to get her help, commenting, "Who knows where she stays?" Although this person could not track down the address of her foster parents, she went ahead to call 911. The person later commented that the authorities showed up at her house, and she gave them Nika's name. "Police was at my house. I gave them her name, but they said on the thing they knew where she was. They just left my crib. I guess they found the foster home she at." According to the reports, this person almost succeeded in saving Nika's life if the officers had gotten there on time, but unfortunately, the officers showed up to the wrong address initially. The residents at that address pointed police to the correct home, but by then it was too late, and Nika Vinant was. "We are absolutely horrified and devastated by the news of this young girl's death," Mike Carroll, of the Florida Department of Children and Family Services, said, "We will do everything we can to support this family and all those who cared for her as they begin to heal from this tragedy." But the worst part, if anything can be worse than the outcome of the live, even after it was clear she was gone, many people on her live were still calling her a faker, still saying it was all a hoax and even more horrible things. Naika Vinant's death was very tragic, gripping the entire nation and leading to questions like, why was this allowed to happen to this beautiful young girl? Why didn't her mother or DCF intervene before it became too late? Those questions prompted DCF to investigate Naika's history with the department. The result of the investigation was heartbreaking and horrifying, pointing to a story of betrayal, neglect, and rejection by the person she loved the most.
Days before the unthinkable happened, she posted this video, which appeared to show a happy 14-year-old version of herself.
But the nurses was cool with me.
It all changed Sunday morning with a different post when the teen would live stream her own.
The 20-page document released by the DCF, a result of their investigation of Nika's case, revealed Nika's history with the agency. But the documents also revealed another story, Nika's tortured relationship with a mother she loved, but who rejected her again and again. Research shows there are roughly 500,000 children in foster care at any given time. Some of these children are lucky enough to be adopted into loving families and grow up to be well-adjusted adults. Others, the majority of children in the system, are left in the system, often facing tremendous trauma before they eventually age out of the system. For Nneka Vanant, it was a little bit of both. She was born on December 15, 2002, to a 17-year-old girl named Gina Kays. For the first 4 years of her life, Nneka and her mom lived together with no issues, at least as far as the Department of Children and Family Services knows. There was no report of or neglect on their file. But all that would change in December 2006, when Nneka was just 4 years old. The DCF received reports that Nneka was being left at home alone, without any supervision. Upon getting to the house, the DCF discovered a situation worse than what they had initially been told. Nneka wasn't just left home alone at that tender age without any supervision, she was also left without any food or water for hours. Although this was Nneka's first run-in with DCF, unfortunately, it wouldn't be her last. In August 2008, DCF was called to Nneka's case again. This time, she was very sick and diagnosed with a chronic health condition, but not according to her mom. Her mom refused to believe that Nneka was actually sick. She called her a liar and said she was faking the illness just for attention. Her mom even went as far as threatening to send her back to Haiti if she did not behave. Nneka was just 5 years old at the time. Most children that age have not developed abilities to fake anything on the level that Nneka's mom was accusing her of, and it turns out her accusations were false, and Nneka was telling the truth. Although her mom refused to have her admitted to the hospital at first, DCF intervened, and she was admitted to the hospital and got the help she needed. But unfortunately, it did not end there. The following year, DCF would be called back to Nneka's case, and this time, the details were so horrifying it would shock anyone that came across it. It was discovered that Nneka's mom had hurt her very badly to the point of leaving marks all over her body. While DCF and everyone who heard it was horrified that a mother would do something like that to her child. According to Nneka's mom, she had a reason. Nneka's mom alleges that she left her daughter at home with a male babysitter to run a few errands. Upon her return, she found Nneka and the babysitter in a compromising position. Nneka's mom claimed that Nneka was the initiator of the obviously adult act. Years old, Nneka had gone through an immeasurable amount of pain at the hands of her mother, and DCF couldn't protect her. No one could. Everyone in her life, it seems, was failing her. But somehow, Nneka managed to keep a smile on her face and keep going. Nneka was in foster until June 2010. Then she was released back to her mom's custody. Things settled a bit for Nneka and her mom, and many people involved in her case thought this was it. Nneka was going to be okay with her mom. But unfortunately, that wouldn't last. When Nneka was 11 years old, she would run away from home. Apparently, there had been some issue, and Nneka was terrified her mom was going to hurt, so she ran away. She reportedly told a case officer that her mom would become violent with her if she went back home. In response, Nneka's mom said she didn't want Nneka back and would harm her if she was returned to her custody. Nneka's relationship with her mom had been filled with tension for years, but at this point, it looked like it was getting to a boiling point. The more Nneka was taken from her mom, the more it seems her mom didn't want her back. Nneka was ordered to undergo therapy this time around, as it was discovered that she was displaying inappropriate adult behavior at just 11 years old. But what she would reveal during these therapy sessions would be scary. She disclosed in therapy that she had been exposed to adult films at home, and she often slept in the same bedroom as her mother's boyfriend. It's not clear if the boyfriend was inappropriate with Nneka, but that cannot be ruled out. It's just another adult in Nneka's life who failed her. Though it seems what Nneka revealed in therapy might have been reason enough to keep Nneka away from her mother. The opposite happened. Nneka was again returned to her mom's custody. This back and forth went on for a while, until Nneka's mother eventually relinquished her parental rights and surrendered Nneka to the system saying she no longer wanted Nika. Nika had felt rejection in different ways pretty much her whole life. But this one cut deep. She became incredibly sad and eventually turned to social media to fill the void. Soon enough, Nika became totally reliant on social media to feel loved, accepted, and validated. But social media is a broken system. A system that can make you feel all the love in the world in 1 minute and incredibly sad and lonely the next.
Like, I hate that lady. You a mess, Beatrice. You guys just want to know I hate that lady. I'm not getting any viewers.
And Nika fell right into its hands. Amidst all the support she was getting online, she was also getting a mountain of hate from trolls. These trolls confirmed her worst fear. She was unlovable. And the fact that she was in the system only made it worse. The state could not find a proper placement for Nika, so she kept getting moved from one foster home to the next, each a seemingly worse experience than the previous one. In the 9 months leading up to her death, Nika changed placements 14 times, mostly due to behavioral issues. None of the homes could handle her trauma and chose to focus more on the symptoms of her trauma rather than the cause of it. Eventually, it all culminated in the events of January 22, 2017, when Nika took her life while thousands of people watched. When Nika's mom was told her daughter was dead, she was visibly heartbroken. She blamed the DCF for not taking proper care of her daughter and not providing her with the help she needed.
I'm sick and devastated. I have trusted Florida foster care people to care for my baby. Instead, she herself on Facebook.
However, the result of the investigation into Nika's case would reveal an even more disturbing story.
New tonight, a grieving mother told us the state didn't do enough to prevent her daughter's. The state says neither did the mother. In fact, they say the mother watched on Facebook Live and even egged her daughter on.
As the world mourned the loss of a beautiful girl called Nika Venant and pointed fingers at the broken system of foster care, DCF released the results of its investigation. Tucked inside the stack of records, released because of a Miami Herald court petition, was a series of heartbreaking text messages between Nika and her mother, Gina Kays. Other texts were from a foster care caseworker who had tried in vain to bring peace between the two and to bring Nika home. Both adults appeared to expect a 14-year-old with a half-dozen mental health diagnoses and a lifelong history of pain, trauma, and rejection to behave like a grown-up. DCF alleged that Nika's mother not only watched as her daughter attempted to take her own life, but was one of the people telling her to do it. She apparently posted a comment under the username Gina Alexis that could be considered mentally injurious to a child on the brink of an act like that, comments that could have tipped her the edge. The investigation revealed that she also did not seek help for her daughter. The following statement was posted by the user in the moments leading up to the #ADHD games played you sad little DCF custody jit. That's why you where you at for this dumb and more. You keep crying. Wolf, you will get buried. Life goes on after a jit that doesn't listen to their parents trying to be grown, seeking boys and girls' attention instead of her books. Gina Kays, Nika's mom, denied every account of the DCF, claiming she posted that comment after Nika was already gone, because she was told it was all a hoax.
I didn't know. I thought she was playing. I saw the kids saying it was a hoax. I saw the comments.
According to Gina, her comment was a way of showing tough love in a way that she thought her daughter would respond to.
So I'm telling her, stop playing games. Stop doing what you're doing.
But she soon found out it was real after all. However, according to the DCF report, Gina had contributed to her daughter's declining mental health by rejecting her several times. After her mom signed her over to the state, Nika pleaded desperately to be reunited with her mom. But her mom vehemently refused. In late September 2016, 4 months before she died, Nika made one of her last attempts at winning her mother's affection. The crazy part of this story is that Nika was just 6 years old at the time. How does it make any sense that a 6-year-old would initiate such an act? Nika was taken away from her mother and placed in foster care. That was Nika's first time in the system, and as the story unfolds, you will find that it wasn't her last. But Nika being saved from her mom was not the end of her suffering, but rather the beginning. Nika was placed into a facility that was later found guilty of using excessive corporal punishments, which meant Nika was severely hurt by adults in that facility multiple times. Unfortunately, that wasn't all. Within that same year, Nika contracted a urinary tract infection. When she was taken to the hospital for treatment, it was discovered that the infection was given to her by someone twice her age, which meant that Nika's innocence was taken away, again. At just 7, with her cell phone nearly out of battery, she texted her mother from her foster home and begged to see her again. "I want to make this work between us. Tell me what I gotta do. I'll do it. I'm tired of us fighting. We need to make this work. I'm ready for us to be a team again," she wrote. "I want to be that little girl you once had. I'm ready to grow up and take responsibility as a teenager." She promised to do better academically, mentally, and physically. "I can do better. I know I can. Give me another chance. I don't want to be here." "Try to stay strong," Nika pleaded. It's difficult to determine how Alexis reacted, as the records are redacted in such a way that it is, at times, hard to know who is speaking and when. But someone replied, "All that urban talk, the messages, and the records, as a whole, make it clear that Nika's desperation to be reunited with her mom was one-sided. Gina Kays wanted very little to do with her daughter at that point. But other than sending texts to her mom, Nika also took to Facebook, her favorite app to vent her frustrations. On January 6, 2017, Nika talked about her pet peeves in a post that read, "Pet peeves, liars, fake promises." 2 days later, Nika posted this, "I refuse to let people stand in the way of my greatness. You either with me or against me. Ain't begging nobody for support, simple." It included a bunch of emojis, one of which was the middle finger. It's unclear whether any of these messages were about her mom specifically, but it's clear that she felt betrayed and was hurting. But Nika's mom denied all the accusations in the investigation reports. According to her, the state was solely responsible for her daughter's death. Gina said her daughter had become increasingly inappropriate, displaying adult behaviors constantly, dancing in her underwear on Facebook, and sending explicit photos to other teens. Worse, Gina was concerned that Nika's erratic behavior might harm her 5-year-old brother, so she kept her away from him. She goes on to say there was little she could do to intervene. Nika's stints in foster care had an unintended consequence. According to Gina, the state empowered Nika to become increasingly disrespectful and rebellious. And since she wasn't allowed to punish Nika in the way she saw fit, her behavior worsened. "I just felt like they switched up the morals and values I put in place, raising my daughter. My daughter went back and forth in the system and used that to manipulate me. She knew that, as a parent, I could not hit my child anymore. She came back and knew mommy can't get a belt. She knew that." In the state's custody, Gina said, Nika developed even worse behavior habits. Though Gina had sought to limit her daughter's access to Facebook and text messaging, it appeared that Nika was now spending more time than ever online. According to Gina, she wrote to the state several times complaining about Nika's online presence, but no one paid any attention to her. "When in my care, there wasn't none of that. She gets worse by the second in y'all care." If Nika had posted those things while living at home, I would have gotten in trouble. But DCF denied Gina's claims. They admitted that they knew of Nika's trauma and had tried to help her. In a statement issued along with the results of the investigation, DCF Secretary Mike Carroll talked about how they tried to help Nika. "There is little we can say that adequately describes the sorrow we still feel today from the loss of Nika. It is even more exacerbated by the information that was learned during the course of the agency's investigation, that this is a child who endured great trauma in her life, and despite many service interventions, We were not able to put the pieces back together to prevent her from taking her own life in such a public forum. DCF also said Naika's case manager tried to reconnect her with her mom several times for the Christmas holiday, but her mother was not responsive. She declined, saying she had been drinking and smoking and therefore was not in a presentable condition. A week later, Gina didn't respond when the caseworker tried to contact her. Alexis disputes DCF's characterization. She said that the judge overseeing the teen's foster care case had ordered that visits between the two be mediated by a therapist to ease tensions, and that no therapist was available that day. I told them the therapist needed to be there, she said, but it didn't end there. A few weeks before Nika passed on, the caseworker tried again. In early January, the family's caseworker with the privately run Center for Family and Child Enrichment tried to meet with Gina. According to a text from an unidentified caseworker, the foster care case, which was intended to conclude with Nika and her mother's reunion, wasn't moving forward. The document also revealed that Nika's counselors knew and were concerned that she was posting inappropriate content on the internet, but they thought it would be up to her to make better decisions. I'm not condoning or justifying Nika's behavior and actions, the caseworker wrote. I can only support her by making sure her basic needs are met and that she is safe. She has to be the one to practice better decisions even with all that is being provided to her. Gina replied, I'm good. I have nothing else to say to the state or time or going out my way for. Naika is y'all problem. I'm done with the games. Soon after, it appears that the family's caseworker walked away as well. She has the help but doesn't show interest in it, the caseworker texted. She is really doing what she just wants to do. The case is going to be transferred to another case manager. I'm hoping she can do better than I did with helping Naika. When the worker tried one last time to meet with Gina to talk about how Nika could be helped, she again refused. She wrote in a text, how clear can I make it that I am not going to come or do anything more in this case? Notes in Nika's foster care file from a few weeks before her death indicated Naika continued to long for her mother. Naika often reported that she missed her mother greatly and really wanted to go back home, the report said. Naika reported that she was feeling a bit sad because her mother didn't want her back and wanted her to age out of the foster care system. A day after that was noted, and 2 days before Nika died, her case manager drove her back to the Children's Courthouse for a hearing in a criminal case arising from Nika's recent arrest at a foster home for inappropriate behavior at school. Nika asked whether she could visit with her brother, but was told her mom refused to say where he was. Nika showed the case manager a text message that her mother sent her when she attempted to contact her. It was a row of emojis displaying the middle finger. Naika's mom, however, denied rejecting her daughter, saying she tried to reconnect with her daughter several times but was unsuccessful.
At no point would she have said that she doesn't want to have any type of relationship with her daughter.
On what would have been Naika's 18th birthday, her mom took to Facebook to express her feelings on how she has been made the bad guy by the state, while at the same time posting a loving message to her daughter. I've been robbed of my character, nationally talked about, falsely accused, and my family amputated by DCF. Today is the day DCF couldn't wait for, while for me it's a day I was looking forward to. These last 4 years have been a milestone for me, but with grace and mercy, Mommy still here coming to your page, screaming for my firstborn daughter, Naika Marie Venant. A happy heavenly 18th birthday. Love you to the moon and back until we meet again, SIP. In the years after Naika's death, not